Shalom, family. Well, I just wanted to tell you that once again, the Lord placed on my heart to drop actually a couple of words onto you all on the different things. It was so powerful this morning. I mean, it had me into tears, so I knew I had to come and upload it. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to be coming out of Genesis 41. We're going to go verses 1 through 36. And our subject is God's events versus Satan events. It came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine, and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kind upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind. So Pharaoh awoke. This is just like us. Whenever we're in the midst of a dream, if the dream is weird, we try to figure out what's going on with the dream, the reason why it's so weird. But when it does something that's horrifying or very unusual, we wake up from out of the dream. This is what happened with Pharaoh. Pharaoh woke up from out of the dream because it was something that was very unusual that happened. The unusual thing that happened for him was the fat kind got ate up by the lean kind, which is very different and very unusual. First off, when you look at the lean kind, they were ill, he said. They didn't have weight on them, so you wouldn't think that they would be strong enough to be able to overtake the fat kind. But they were. Because whenever you are going through, even though you are malnutrition, if you see food or something that is going to help you out in some kind of way, you will get strength from out of nowhere. And that's what happened with the lean kind. And once he saw that happen, saw them devour them, meaning an animal eat an animal, he woke up immediately out of that dream. And he slept and dreamed the second time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears, and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So here it is. After Pharaoh woke up from the first dream, he was like, okay, that was weird. That was crazy. All right, that was just a dream. Let me go back to sleep. So he went to sleep for a second time and had a second dream. Different scenery, but same scenario. This time he saw ears of corn, and the lean ear of corn ate up the full ear of corn, which was very confusing. And he woke up again to make sure he wasn't just seeing things and realized he was dreaming yet again. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. So when you are in kingship, like the Pharaoh was, he had certain people that was around him that knew a lot to him, or that could, tell him of things to come, or could tell him, listen, make this decision and not that decision. And he tended to keep those people around him. So he called for the magicians, which your magicians are known for their enchantments and their spells. And magicians do stuff like they'll put like some bones in a cup and flip the bones upside down and tell you what your future holds from the bones, or whichever way the tea lays within the cup and tell you your future from the tea. That's what your magicians do. Okay, your wise men that he called for, your wise men are your stargazers. So they look up into the stars and, check charts and look at different things to tell you, oh, well, your future holds this because this is the way that the stars fall. And this is the planet that you fall under, which they didn't know nothing about planets back then. They called planets stars back then too. Just do your research. But to know, oh, well, this is the way the stars fell, so this is what's going to happen within your life. Okay, if it was that easy, why they couldn't tell him about the dream, and the dream had something to do with his life and his future? Because they ain't got no power unless they connected. And at that point in time, the connection doors was closed because Elohim didn't want the enemy to know what was getting ready to come to pass, because the enemy will try to do things to shift it and change it. This is the reason why they couldn't interpret a dream. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my fault this day. The reason why he remembered his fault that day, because he had already been in the presence of somebody who could interpret dreams. And before he left the dungeon with Joseph, Joseph said, listen, when you go, back up there where Pharaoh is, remember me. Remember me once you go up there. Don't leave me down here. I don't belong down here. And the butler said, okay, I remember you. But just like anybody else who gets put in position, they tend to forget how they got put in that position. Or anybody else who rises up, sometimes they forget how they made it up that level, and they start looking down upon the ones that ain't at the same level as them. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass as he interpreted it to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hung. So basically, what the butler was letting Pharaoh know is, I was down in a dungeon with someone who was able to interpret dreams. Now, me and the baker both had dreams, and he was able to tell us both what the interpretation of the dream was. And the interpretation that he told us, it came to pass. Because my dream had something to do with me being put back in office. And his dream had something to do with him being killed. And he was. So this man is real good. If you need anybody to interpret your dreams, you must go get him. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came unto Pharaoh. Notice, before he came to see Pharaoh, once he found out that they was taking him to see Pharaoh, before he went to go see Pharaoh, he wanted to make sure he was right. See, you don't go before people just any old kind of way. You got to make sure you look presentable. And that's what he did. He made sure, it said he shaved himself and he put on proper raiment in order to go before Pharaoh. Now, to them, they was trying to bring him there in a hurry. They wouldn't have cared whether he came there like he was. You just need to tell the king what the interpretation of his dream is. It don't matter about all that. But Joseph wanted to make sure that he came before Pharaoh in the right way. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Notice how Joseph took the highlight off of himself, took the glory off of himself. He told Pharaoh, it ain't me who has this gift. It ain't me who can do it. It is Elohim that can give me the interpretation of the dream. And it is Elohim which is going to bring peace to you through this interpretation. But don't make it seem like it's me of myself that, has the power of this gift. The same way Pharaoh was trying to put it on the magicians and the wise men as basically stating, y'all have this power so y'all can tell me the interpretation. Joseph was trying to let him know, listen, I don't have no power unless the Lord give it to me. That's the only way I can tell you the interpretation of this dream. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, in my dream I beheld, I stood upon the bank of the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fled in a meadow. and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kind came up after them, poor and very ill favored, and lean flesh, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt, for badness. And the lean and the ill favored kind did eat up the first 7 fat kind. And when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill favored as at the beginning. So I awoke. So here it is. Pharaoh let him know that it looked at so bad. I mean, they were so ill favored that I've never seen something that bad. Out of all my years in Egypt, I've never seen somebody that bad off, or something, or an animal that bad off. So I was kind of disturbed by the dream, especially when they ate up the fat kind. But yet and still, even after they ate them up, it didn't make a difference. They still looked like they did in the beginning. They didn't look like they was satisfied, like they was full. They still looked like they was hungry and they needed more. And I saw in my dream, and behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ear devoured the 7th ear. And I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me. So here it is. He was telling Joseph that, man, listen, I had another dream right after that, and it had something to do with ears of corn. And you had the full and good corn that came up, and then you had these withered looking thin corn that came up. And once again, they devoured the full good corn. And I woke up from the dream and didn't understand it. So I went to my magicians, and they couldn't even tell me the interpretation of the dream that I had just had. One thing I want to highlight with you guys is the thing about this east wind that they talked about that sprung up. See, this ain't the first time east wind has came about. Let's go to another time where God had east wind come about, and you will find that in Exodus 10, 12 through 13. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. So here it is, you got the east wind showing up again. And with this east wind, there came locusts. And what did that locust do? That locust devoured up the crops. The way there was a famine that was coming in the land. I mean, the Lord stopped it from the prayer of Moses before it got real bad. But if they would have continued eating up everything like the locust was doing, it would have been famine that would have came next, if Moses wouldn't have been there to intercede to keep it from coming to pass. So we're going to jump back over. We're in Genesis 41:25 now. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kind are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. And the dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears, blasted with the east wind, shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showeth unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt. And the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by the reason of that famine following. for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. So Joseph was telling Pharaoh, the reason why you had this dream is so you could get prepared. And he's trying to get you prepared so that you won't be destroyed, so that your people will not be destroyed. And he sent the dream to you twice so that it could be established, just to let you know that it was going to be double what was going on, and it was established by God, and that is coming soon. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all the food of these good years to come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. So, people of God, what you got to understand is this, what you are being shown right now, is to prepare you for the things to come so that you will not perish. You have to be the one to take heed to what's being shown to you, to the things that the Lord is trying to show you, even though this is letting you know that this is something that came from God. God was bringing a shift about within the area. Same with the locusts. That east wind. Notice that east wind that came about to let you know God was in play during that time. Now let's jump over to Job and find out and see an area where God wasn't in play, even though they probably thought that he was. Well, most thought that he was. But he wasn't doing none of these things. He allowed it, but he wasn't doing it. We're going to go over to Job 1, 13 through 19. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in the elders brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So here it is. The Sabeans came along, and they took away, and they fell upon them, and they came upon them quickly, and they slew the servants. What they fell upon and took away, they took away the oxen that was plowing and the asses. They took away the oxen and the donkeys and kept them for themselves. But the servants, oh no, they killed them with a sword. Who's known as a servant in the Bible? We are the servants of the Lord. So there are going to be certain servants that are not going to make it during the parts of these rough times, because the enemy got it out for you. So he's trying to make sure to destroy that which is connected to Elohim. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire of Elohim, the fire of God, is fallen from heaven and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. All right. Pay attention. 2 things that got burnt up by the fire. One, that the servant said, well, let's call it out on 3 things. One, that the servant said that fire came from God. He assumed it was from God, but it really wasn't from God. All because he saw it come from out of heaven. What you have to understand, people, is that everything around you is a spirit. And I try to tell my children this same thing. Even your emotions are connected to a spirit. How can I say that? Did not the word say that the Lord has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind? See, fear is a spirit. Doubt is a spirit. Division is a spirit. Hatred is a spirit. These are emotions that are connected to a spirit. Now, when you think about your elements that are around you, those are spirits. The clouds, that's a spirit. The wind, that's a spirit. The rain, that's a spirit. Everything has a job to do, and it do its job, and it glorifies. Even they talk about the stars. When you see those stars out there twinkling, they are glorifying God daily. We just the ones that don't know how to be obedient and do what we supposed to do. My son was like, Mom, why is it that we have to worship? I say, because it is known for the creation to worship the creator. We are the creation. The other creations that he created, they know how to worship. That's why he said that if you don't worship me, I'll cause the rocks to cry out, because that's another element that has the ability to worship the Lord. You just don't know that it can worship. You don't know that it has the power to be able to listen and understand you. See, some of your scientists will tell you, if you talk to a plant, it thrives and it lives because it is a living cell. That is very true. But it is also, you got to understand that it is a spirit that is inside of that cell, which calls life. Let's go a little further. I don't want to get too far off of where we are. But notice that it burnt up the sheep and the servants. We are also called sheep, and we are also servants. So this right here, that was personal. That had nothing to do with trying to actually, tear a person down. That was personal to Elohim, all, to himself. Oh, I'm going to take out your sheep, and I'm going to take out your servants. I understand you got them out there to do a job, but a lot of them ain't going to make it. So he knew what he was doing, and he kept pressing. While he was yet speaking, talking about the other servant that came up, there came another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camel and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Once again, now this is a totally different group right here. The Chaldeans come in, and they come and they fall upon the camel and take the camel away for their own, but they kill off the servants. Why? Why did they have to kill off the servants? Because it's been times where people have been taken into captivity and made into the slaves of the ones who took them in. Why did the Chaldeans not take them in, but instead decided to kill them off with a sword? I'm pretty sure they wasn't trying to resist, but they decided to take their life instead. Remember, I told you, this is personal. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they died, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. That's a lot to get hit with. I mean, back to back. Notice that the word said, while they were yet speaking. While they were yet speaking. While they were yet speaking. Another servant was coming to give bad news. I mean, one area of bad news after the other. There's only so much a person can take. But Elohim knew that Job could take all this. He knew he could take it in. Because the main thing that that Satan was sending him in front of him about was, I bet you I can get him to curse you. No, still didn't get him to cursing, even after getting hit back to back with all those devastating things. Those were some devastating things right there. You done lost everything, well, pretty much everything, except for the wife. That but he probably at moments, at least the friends who was around that heard her say what she said, probably was like, "Dog, man, that's kind of cruel." But he lost pretty much everything, and yet and still didn't do what the enemy tried to get him to do. I want to highlight so that you can see that the enemy worked through 3 areas. He worked through people, 2 areas. He worked through people, elements. That's how he did that. Remember, you had the Sadeans that came along first, and they took some stuff, killed. Then you had the fire that came down from heaven, which just destroyed everything. And notice how it destroyed the sheep and the servants. Then you had the Chaldeans that came along next. And the Chaldeans, they took camel and just killed off the servants. Last, you had the wind that came along from out of the wilderness, hit the four corners of the house that his children was in and the servants was in, and it collapsed right down on them. Killed every last person that was in them. Some personal stuff going on here. But the enemy ain't your friend. Some people keep trying to be the enemy friend, but he don't love you. His love is just a type of love just to use you. Now, if you find yourself as a user, then you need to question whose side you on, because the Lord don't have a using spirit. People who do stuff for you that's on the Lord's side is doing it for you because they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. Not because they're trying to use you to get something out of you. Not everybody is a user. There are some people that actually are doing it because it's in their heart to do. But if you got a using spirit on you, you need to question what spirit you connecting to. Now, another thing I want to highlight. When we was talking about this wind, see, the enemy has a way of copying what the Lord does. See, pay attention. If you go in and you check on Google and you type in which countries are in the Far East, the first country that's going to come up is China. Where did this virus come out of? China. Man-made virus at that. Remember, the enemy used people. Oh, he'll use people. Next thing you'll notice is that he's using the elements. He's only allowed to use what the Lord allows him to use. Because scripture has to be fulfilled, people. We can never forget that scripture has to be fulfilled in all this that's going on. Because we got to get past the bad to make it to the good. I mean, good came in through a man, bad came in through a man, and good is going to come in also through the Son of Man. So, pay attention. We're finna jump again. This time, we're going to jump into Matthew 24. And we're going to read chapters 1 through 35. Now, in Matthew, it reads as such. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily, I say unto you, whenever Yeshua used the word verily, he about to give you some future events that's finna go on. Some truth. He about to bring some truth to the table. Pay attention. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be turned over. He was talking about the second temple. See, the Romans came in and they destroyed the second temple. Basically, the only thing you got left is a wall. And the wall ain't a temple no more. He told you that there ain't going to be one stone over here that's left unturned. Meaning they even used the stones that was down on the ground in order to rebuild and do some other stuff. Because they ain't need them. Just about every last one of them stones turned over except for that little wall as an example of what once was there. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? See, they wanted to know about future events because they thought the end of the world was going to come while they was living. No, it wasn't. Yeshua went on ahead and told them of what was to come. Why? Because it would give them the opportunity to pass it down to their children and their children's children and their children's children, so that it can pass along, so that we will have it to be able to read today. Let's find out and see what he told them. And Yeshua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Because he knew that man was going to come and try to deceive us. Because man don't read this Bible too. Don't think that the enemy don't know this Bible back and forth, because he do. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And we've already seen some people come forth and say that they are the Christ. We already seen some people come forth and say that they are the anointed one. That's a lie. That's a deception. Yeshua already told you that the deception was coming. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass. And must come to pass. But the end is not yet. These are some of the things that we are seeing come to pass, people. We are hearing of wars. See, the talk about the wars come from your higher ups. oh man, we finna get ready to go into war. I don't heard them talk, to this about this country and that country and that country. So these people are offending me, and I'm finna get ready to go into war. I'm finna show them who I am. They can't just come at me that type of way. The wars part is coming from the higher ups. That's where we're hearing it from. Then the rumors of war, that's coming from your media, your gossipers, your ones that's supposed to spread out the news. It ain't the good news they spread, but it's the news. So that's where you're hearing your rumors of war off of what they hear come from the higher ups. But Yeshua says to be not troubled. Don't be troubled by these things once you start to hear this stuff come to pass. For all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. We're not yet to the end. It ain't came yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. See, technically, there's already famine going on in some countries. There is earthquake going on in diverse places. But you're not paying attention that this stuff is going on, because they're highlighting the pestilence. They're highlighting the pestilence for a reason, because they don't want you to know what's going on behind the scenes. When they make something so big and so great, there is small things that can be eased under the table. See, I told my children that when you see this great mountain just come up out of nowhere and it reaches up very high. Now it's cold up there in the high area, and there's ice that is forming over the top of the mountain and is covering the top of the mountain. You can't see what's up under the ice until the ice melts. Once that ice melts and everything has subsided, then you'll be able to see that something major was going on up under that ice, but you couldn't see it until a point in time. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. So we're not in the end times yet, people. We are just at the realm. We're at the beginning of sorrows. That's what Yeshua said. We're at the beginning of sorrows. This is where people go, through the crying moments because they lost loved ones, through the worryation moments because they don't know what the future holds. They don't know what's coming to pass. Well, at least those don't know that ain't been in the book. Those who don't been in the book, they pretty much know what's going on. That's why they're saying we in the last days. That's why they keep saying that, because they know of the things that's supposed to come about in the last days. But Yeshua said, these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they divide. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Okay, once again, who is the they he talking about? That's the higher ups. That's those people. They're going to deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. Meaning some of you on this walk is going to die. I'm sorry to say it. Sorry to make it blunt and very plain, but it's the truth. There are some that are going to die in the faith. Some people already don't die in the faith. You just don't know whether you're one of them ones that's going to die in the faith, or one of them ones that's going to be able to make it over to see him come on the cloud in the end. Even though we know all shall see him, even the dead. We all gonna see him, but you don't know what you're gonna have to go through before you see him. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. So meaning the things that's gonna happen to the saints, it's gonna offend you. It's gonna make you feel a certain type of way. And those who feel strongly in being offended, or feeling like they shouldn't be treated that way, or they shouldn't be done that way, all because of his namesake, they're going to start betraying others. Notice at that point in time, it's going to become every man for himself. Either you're going to look out for self and self alone, or you're going to look out for your family. That's basically how it's going to be. Some family members, not even a lot of family members, are going to turn against each other. When this is the main time when you need family, you need all of your family at that time. Not your halfway connected family or the ones you're trying to make into a family. No, your actual family. That's the time when you're going to need them at that moment. And you're going to be hated by one another. This time that we have alone to be able to connect with our family, to be able to connect with the things that we've been taught as far as in worship wise, this is where you need to strongly get into your word. This is where you need to be falling down on your knees. This is where you need to be building your family up in the word. This is where you need to be praying as a family and teaching them how to pray and teaching them the scriptures and teaching them how to fast so that they can build a connection as you're building a connection, because it's the one that is connected that's going to be able to know when these things come to pass. Not those who are in the dark, who are more focused on the things that are going on in the world. Remember, you're in the world, but you're not of this world. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. We're already starting to see that come to pass. Make sure that you're connected to those who are connected to Elohim and not connected to those who are connected to Satan, because they're going to be giving out a lot of false information just to keep you in the darkness. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Here it is, Elohim. Yeshua is letting you know that the iniquity, the troubles, that was going to get ready to come. Oh, it's going to intensify. More and more, it's going to intensify. And for some, it's going to intensify so much that their love is going to, for many, their love is going to wax cold. Meaning they're going to give you the cold shoulder. They can't help you out because they're too busy trying to help themselves. It's going to, like I said, it's going to be every man for himself. Make sure that you still have the love of Elohim on the inside of you through these hard times. That you can show love to others even while you're in the midst of trouble. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Will you be able to be saved? Yes. But you have to stay focused. You have to stay connected, and you will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. See, right now is the main opportunity where the gospel is being preached out. See, the enemy think that he don't shut down something by making it the way you can't gather together in the sanctuary. But once you shut that down strongly, all of a sudden media open up majorly to just push it out media-wise of getting the word out. And we already know you got majority of the people in this world that can connect either through a phone or through streaming on their TV, through news and media. You can even get YouTube on the TV. So trust and believe, you ain't stopped nothing. You just made more of the word come to pass. The word shall go forth, and it's going to go to the whole nation. It's going to be preached so that it can be a witness. And once those things start happening, which we're starting to see it now, then shall the end come. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Meaning, you're going to see the abomination of desolation standing in the holy place and declaring that he is God. When you see that come to pass, see, you got to be able to read Daniel and understand that that's what's going to happen. When you see this come to pass, we getting close, people. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. There is going to be an appointed time where you're going to have to flee, people. You're going to have to go into the mountains. It wasn't just during the time of after Yeshua died that they had to flee into the mountains, because the Romans was coming. So they had to flee too. They were in their exodus again. We are getting ready to go into our exodus again, meaning you're going to have to flee into the mountains. But you're going to need to be connected to Elohim in order to hear the call to let you know now is the time to flee. This is the moment you need to get up out of there. During the time of Moses, remember after the 10th plague, one of the instructions that they were given were they were told to go to sleep fully clothed with their sandals on and ready to go. Staff in hand. Because once this happened, it's time to get up out of here. Same thing with God, with Elohim. Once you are given those instructions, you've been given instructions constantly by prophets and people of God. They've been giving you these instructions that you need to be prepared. You need to be ready. Your bag should be packed. Meaning that's the only thing you and your family need to grab up and head out. The only thing you need. Be prepared, people, because it's coming. And Yeshua said, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Meaning if you working on the roof or anything like that, don't go inside. Don't go to gather up none of your stuff because you're supposed to already be prepared. Your stuff should always be on you at all times. You might look weird to people. Noah looked weird to people when he was out there building the ark. It's okay because they don't understand. But long as you know you ready at all times, be ye ready. I can't stress it enough, people. Yeshua said, let him which is in the field return. Let him which is in the field return back and take his clothes. Sorry, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So meaning, if you out on the back, you shopping, going to pick up your kids from another destination one day, whatever it is, your stuff need to always be with you. Have it, throw it in the car. Throw it on your back. Grab their stuff up. Like I said, you might look weird to people. You might look funny to people, but you are prepared. They're not. They're going to laugh just like they laughed at Noah. But it's okay. Because when the end come and you the one on the boat going, you the one on the ship leaving, you leaving in the ark, they're going to feel like sad and disappointed within themselves because they didn't do it. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And woe unto them that are with child and to them that give suck in those days. Basically, he's saying, if you pregnant, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be pleasant on you. Why? Because you're not going to be able to travel as far a distance as everybody else. Those who are actually have a child that is being breastfed. See, I breastfed, so I know exactly what he's talking about. I had a child. I know exactly what it is. Sometimes you're too tired to turn over when you're pregnant. When you're in your last stages, especially, you don't feel like doing nothing. Your body is in a rest mode. Your body just want to rest to prepare for the actual labor, for actually delivering the child. So when you are a woman who is about to deliver or full term or just about full term or even halfway, you're tired. You need to rest. So you don't want to be one of those ones. You don't want to be one of the ones who are breastfeeding your child at that moment. And the reason why you don't want to be one of those ones who are breastfeeding is because when a mother is breastfeeding, it drains you. It makes you sleepy. It makes you want to rest. It makes you thirsty and it makes you hungry. So you're eating more because the child is pulling away from you. So you don't want to be in that state when this comes to pass. You want your children to be of age to where at least they're eating. At least they can travel and kind of help out. Because you don't want to have real tiny kids. That's not going to be good. But I pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. So meaning, it's already hard to travel during the cold time. Don't nobody want to be out during the cold time. You want to be inside of a building, warm it up while the cold is going on the outside. You don't want to be trying to travel during that time. And you don't want to be trying to travel on the Sabbath either, because that's supposed to be the appointed time for rest for you. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. And except these days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So Elohim is going to make sure he shortens the days so that the elect don't perish. I want the elect to be saved, so we're not going to prolong this thing. We're going to make it quick. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. So meaning the elect know about all the stuff that Yeshua did when Yeshua was down here on the earth. So they're going to look at these signs and these wonders and be like, wow, wait a minute, hold on. Is Yeshua back already? Wait a minute. Hold on, I got to go search the scriptures. Let me make sure. So when they go search the scriptures, they wait a minute. That ain't Elohim. That ain't Yeshua. That's them false Christ that he was telling us about and the false prophets. No, that ain't the way. That ain't even the way he said he was coming back. So it's, if possible, it could even deceive even the elect. Behold, I have told you this before. Yeshua already warned you of this. So don't fall with the being a person that falls for the deception. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, He is in the secret chambers. Believe it not. If they say he in the desert, don't go searching for him in the desert because he ain't there. If they say he is in the secret chambers, do not believe them, people, because he ain't there. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Here we are with that east and that west thing again. See, Yeshua is letting you know that he's going to be coming from the east. And he's not going to be down here on the earth. He's coming on a cloud, and we're going to find that out, in a little bit. But he's coming on a cloud. I asked my children, I said, pay attention. What rises in the east and faces towards the west and sets in the west? My kids are like, wait a minute. The sun does that. Exactly. And the sun is going to do it again. This time it just won't be the actual item, the sun as an item, but it will be the Son of Man that's going to rise. That's going to come from out of the east when he comes back to get us. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Oh, wait a minute. We don't heard this before too. Yeshua saying it different, but it's the same thing. When it says the dead in Christ shall rise first, and we that are alive and remain shall be gathered and caught up to meet him in the air. That's the same thing, but right here he's calling us eagles. Because we're going to soar, and we're going to be together with him. Immediately after the tribulation of these days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So, I asked my children this too. I said, did you see what Elohim just did? He took away all the stuff that they was worshiping. See, they worship the sun god, the moon god, and some even worship the stars. When they put so much thought into the stars, oh, wait a minute, the stars is going to tell me about my future. They're going to tell me about my life. I got to stay deep into the star chart. That's not what it's about. It ain't about worshiping the sun. It ain't about worshiping the stars. It ain't about worshiping the moon. It ain't about none of that. So he finna eliminate all that so you can put your focus on the person who it's supposed to be on the Son of Man who's coming back for his chosen people. Let's read that again. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Okay, Elohim did something else amazing. He took you back to the beginning. What was on the face of the earth in the beginning? Darkness. The first sign was the light when he said, let there be light. See, some people get that confused. And they be like, well, shouldn't light have entered once Elohim hit the scene? Because he is light? No. Because if you pay attention, the many times when Elohim come, he come in darkness. He come in a cloud. He don't come so you can see him in no light. No, the light came through the sun. The sun is the one who brought the light. He is the light of men. Elohim, whenever you pay attention, he comes in darkness. Read the scriptures, you'll find it out. He comes in darkness because no man has seen him and live. So no, he ain't even trying to let the earth see him and live. Angels don't even look upon him because they already know how bad it is. No, sorry, it ain't what it is. Pay attention. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. See, this is exactly what I was talking about. Elohim finna eliminate all that side stuff y'all worshiping. Well, those who are worshiping the side stuff, he finna eliminate that. Take it away, because they don't need that. We finna show them what it's really been about from the beginning. And let them see everybody who trusted and believed, even though they didn't see, were on the right path. Everybody who detoured, gonna find out, but they find out the hard way. I don't want to find out the hard way, people. No, I want to already be in the light and be seen upon the highest mountaintop. Let my light continue to burn, Lord, so that I can be found. I want to be found. I don't want to be one of the lost ones. I don't want to be one of the lost sheep that you got to go look for. Because some people are like that. They the lost sheep, and God got to go out and look for them. And he shall send his angels, and with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Remember, I told you, when it's time for us to leave and flee into the mountains, not everybody gonna make it to that point. Some people gonna have to find shelter in other places while the tribulation is going on. But after the tribulation, he's going to gather you up from all corners of the world and bring you in. Because he's not gonna leave you out there. He ain't gonna leave you out there through all the rest of it. He's gonna bring you in. Trust and believe. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and put forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. And he's letting you know, learn the parable of the fig tree, because with the fig tree, when it puts forth its leaves, you know that the summer is near. Everything that Yeshua just called out, you will know that his coming is near if you pay attention to everything that he just put out. You'll know that it's right at your front door. Verily I say unto you, which he finna bring you some more truth, bring you some more future event. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Scripture has to be fulfilled. That's when these things will come to. That's when you will know that you've made it to the end. This generation ain't passing until then. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So he's letting you know, even though this earth gonna be destroyed, even though heaven is going to be destroyed, so that the newness can come in, because we gotta walk into the newness of life. So once this newness comes in and all that bad stuff is gone, and we ain't worried about, sickness, disease, and people killing us off or killing our children off and destruction. We're not worried about none of that no more, because we're walking in the goodness of life. See, Yeshua say he goes to prepare a place for us, that where he is, we may be also. See, in his Father's house, there are many mansions. And if it was not so, he would have told you that it wasn't so. Everything that he's been telling you, it's going to come to pass. Why? Because scripture must be fulfilled. That's what he told you. I just want you to be prepared and ready. Pay attention to the scripture and the word that he put before you. Because he said his word ain't going to pass away. It shall not return unto him void. It's going to accomplish exactly what it was sent out to accomplish, whether you believe it or not. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I pray that this word falls on good ground. I pray that it takes root, Lord. Lord, I pray that your people be prepared. This word is not to scare them, Lord, but to prepare them for the things that are to come ahead, Lord. Lord, I pray that you create in them a clean heart and renew a right spirit in them. Lord, allow the voices that go on inside of their minds to cease, Lord, so they can focus in on you, your will and your way, Lord. Lord, allow them to utilize this time, Lord, to spend time with their family and spend time connecting to you and connecting their family to you, Lord, so that they can be a strong unit when these things come to pass. Lord, I ask that you lead and guide us each and every day. Lord, and if we are the type of people that do not connect to the right type of person, Lord, steer us so that we do get into the right area, Lord, so that we can connect to your people. If we are milk drinkers, Lord, allow us to be around the meat eaters, Lord, so that we will be able to make it into the kingdom once that day arrives. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. Shalom, family.